Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the September 11th Board of Trustees meeting. Can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Camille, will you please call the roll?
Present.
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 Present, and we hope that everyone had a wonderful summer. We weren't here last year, so we missed you guys. We have no appointments today, no presentations, and no public hearings, so I just need to adopt the minutes for July 10th. May I have a motion to adopt the July 10th meeting minutes?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any objections? Thank you all. And we'll move straight on to resolutions. So our first resolution, and I just want everyone to excuse me in advance because I'm struggling with allergies, and so my throat is bothering me. So may I have a motion to authorize use of the village streets on Friday, October 6th from approximately 4:45 to 5:30 for the annual Tuckahoe High School Homecoming Parade, and I hope to see you all there.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, and the second resolution, authorizing the use of the Main Street Park Tennis Court for the Tuckahoe Tuckahoe Public Schools between 3:15 to 5 p.m. on 9/14, 19, 21, 27, 10/3, and 10/5.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? And along the same line, I'm just going to, there's an add-on. It's not on the agenda, but we're going to add on authorizing the use of the tennis courts by ECAP on 9/18/25, 10/2, 16/23, and the 30th of October from 4 to 6 p.m.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? And I'm really glad to see that the newly renovated tennis courts are being used by many of our residents, including the schools and ECAP, so I'm really excited about that. The next resolution, authorizing the use of the Lake Avenue parking lot by Growler's Bistro, Beer Bistro for their annual Oktoberfest celebration with terms and conditions approved by the village administrator. May I have a motion for that?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? And if you have not experienced the Oktoberfest, I really recommend that you do. It is a fun time, good food. It gets a lot of people out, and I recommend you get there. I will be there, so I hope to see some of you there. Resolution number 5, authorizing a declaration of Village Hall HVAC repairs and replacement on an emergency basis, exempt from bidding procedures to All-Star Air Quality in the amount of $75,000. We've had issues with our air conditioning, and so we need to resolve that. So may I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? And say that again? Okay, thank you. I skipped 4. That's why it's good. You know, I'm just making sure you're on your toes, Nicole. May I have a motion authorizing a retainer agreement with Bleakley, Platt, and Schmidt for consultation on legal matters?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? And so that'll take us to resolution number 7, authorizing the approval of the duly authorized Tuckahoe Public Library interior renovation project to Icon Construction Group in the amount of $1,097,000.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? I'm missing all of them. Told you. I'm somebody's gonna have to teach me how to manage allergies. May I have a motion authorizing the surplus of sale of a 2006 pickup truck? May I have a motion for that?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? And we have completed several capital projects. We've told you guys in the last few months that we have been working on some capital projects and some infrastructure, traffic lights, paving of the roads. So we just need to authorize the closing of the following projects at September 8th, 2023. Project for Tuckahoe Community Flooring, the playground safety, salt brine machines, and the community center bathrooms. May I have a motion authorizing the closing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you all very much. And we have to authorize the approval of vouchers in the amount of $1,174,939.84 to pay the bills.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, I think we're gonna be out of here by 8:15, guys, so you're good. I mean, 7:15.
Number 9.
Authorizing this is what I wanted you to talk about. This is becoming like a comedy show. Can I just talk a little bit about that? Yeah, so the ninth resolution speaks to various budget modifications and transfers for the fiscal year ending May 31st, 2023. So we just want to inform the residents as to what some of those major modifications are.
So I don't have, I have a list of all of them. There's nothing necessarily major on there. Just to let everyone know, at the end of the year, I'll try to show it here. Each fiscal line has its own appropriate amount. Some lines get overspent, some lines get underspent, and at the end of the year, before our audit, we kind of adjust these lines, taking one from one area to put into the other area. We go through this throughout the year. One expense line in, say, the village administrator line might be overspent, but the other line might be underspent. We kind of look at that, but we have no authorization. Only the village board has authorization to move money between those lines. So basically, this is at the end of the year, fiscal year 2023, we're moving lines from the underspent lines to the overspent lines and kind of just truing up our financial outlook for the year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if anyone does have specific questions about it, feel free to reach out and we will provide you with that information.
Can we vote on it?
Yes, so may I have a motion to authorize the budget modifications?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you to the board. That will take us to departmental reports, and so we will start with our Chief Costanzo.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
No, is it on? Try it again. He was talking in it.
Okay. Okay, so this is my next to last meeting, and you're trying to silence me.
That comes before the defunding. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Actually, this afternoon, as I sat in my office to think about if I had anything to report today, it made me think that over the last 20 years, I've attended more than 200 of these meetings, which also made me think that people are probably pretty sick of listening to me. So this is the next to last one, and it's been a pleasure. I just want to mention that as everyone knows, the schools are open. I just want to remind everyone that passing the school bus in either direction is a violation. It's a minimum $250 fine and 5 points off your license. We follow school buses every single day, various stops, both in the morning and afternoon, so we're very vigilant, looking for violators. So I'm just asking all of our motorists to be careful. We'll be out there. And also another reminder that the speed limit in the village has been lowered to 25 miles per hour as of February of this year. And during that time, we've issued over 150 speeding violations. So please slow down and be cautious of stop school buses. And just on the 22nd anniversary of the 9/11 attacks, I just wanted to mention and just do a brief history lesson what it was like in the village on that particular day, 22 years ago. And, after the first plane struck and, members of the police department were becoming aware of what was going on, after the second plane, we started to mobilize, and every single member of the department either called or just came in that day without us having to get in touch with anybody calling out to them. They took it upon themselves, whether they just got off of work, whether they were on their day off, whether they were on vacation, to show up and to be here and to do whatever was necessary. And there was a lot going on that day. There was so much uncertainty. So when the trains had stopped and we were very cautious about our two train stations. We had members of our tactical team on the platforms of both train stations. We had snipers on the overpasses. We sent officers to all our schools, just not knowing when and if the other shoe was going to drop. A contingent of officers went down to Ground Zero that day after a request from New York City Police Department, and we spent the night down there working more than 24 hours before we were relieved. So I just, of course, of all the losses of that day, of the first responders, police officers, firefighters, EMS, all the citizens that we lost, including our village trustee, Michael McHugh, that tragic day. I just want to remind everybody that the Tuckahoe Police Department then, as I know they would do now, responded in a very big way and did what was necessary. So it was a very sad day for all of us, but as a member of the police department, it was a very proud day, how everybody reacted. So that's my history.
And we're not surprised.
So thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Superintendent of DPW, Frank DeMarco.
Good evening, Mayor.
Good evening.
Members of the board. I just want to touch on some small topics tonight, one being paving. I just want to let those know that we're going to be paving 3 roads this year. We're going to be paving Sagamore between Depot Square and Minturn, Fisher Avenue between Young Place and Columbus Avenue, Wallace between Circuit Avenue and Fulton Street. Anybody has any questions, just feel free to give me a call. Also, I want to talk about chili cook-off. It's that time of the year, Broken Bow. Saturday, October 14th, between 1 and 4, DPW is contemplating winning this year because the East Tuckahoe Police Department won last year, so I think it's only fair that we win this year. But the proceeds would go to the Gary Sinise Foundation this year. For those that don't know, this foundation supports our defenders, veterans, first responders, and their loved ones, and those in need. So Tuckahoe DPW, and I think Tuckahoe Police Department, Eastchester Police Department, Eastchester Fire, Pelham Police, Pelham Fire, a lot of local municipalities will be participating this year as well. So please come and enjoy yourselves that day. Tuckahoe DPW Day is also approaching. That'll be September 21st at the Main Street Park from 10 to 2. And again, we'll have trolley tours, jumping castles, face painting, magicians will be there, DJ. The trucks and equipments will be displayed throughout the park. And the DPW family will also showcase all that they do throughout that event. And that's all I really have.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Does anyone on the board have anything to?
I do. I
Yeah.
have a question. So, Frank, the leaves are going to start to fall. I know they're still kind of green, kind of right now. Any reminders to the village about how to deal properly with their leaves? Because this time next month, there'll be leaves on the ground.
Yeah. Well, leaves, I think as of October 1st, will be placed at curbside. It could be placed at curbside, could be placed in trash receptacles, it could be placed out with the recyclable bags. No plastic bags, please. It's just trying to think sustainability.
Okay.
Okay?
Thanks.
And that'll go on to December 15th.
Sorry, Frank. I have one question. Several residents in the buildings have asked about the possibility of food scrapping at the buildings. Has there been any more discussion on that? I know that you guys had talked about it at some point.
Yeah, we're just not prepared. We don't have the proper equipment to pick up that much food scrap. So presently, we take the food scrap to our yard. We store it in our containers, and we have a contracted carting company through Westchester County that comes and picks it up once a week from the DPW. So presently we're working on it. We're just not prepared. We've ordered some equipment, and hopefully we could work with a lot of the buildings and even commercial establishments that are looking to do food scrap recycling and jump on our program with us.
And maybe you could pilot one or two to see how that works or something.
Correct.
Okay.
We're also working on food scrapping and creating our own compost at our compost facility. So that's something we're also working with Peter McCart in Westchester County.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
The libraries, our director of the library, Swadish Pashnanda.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor,
Good evening.
Board of Trustees, and the community. I will be short also. As all of you know, we have lots of program at the library. The special one is Wednesday, September 13 at 7 p.m. Dream analysis, and the author is going to talk about how our sophisticated unconscious mind and the problem solving we are doing every single night as we sleep, whether you remember them or not. So if you are interested, please come and join. It's on Zoom. And another program, Video Escape is Saturday, September 23rd at 2 p.m. And this is like a funny comedy and interesting drama audio show. So that's also sponsored by the Community Fund. And we have online elder law seminar, Aging in Place, a guide to growing older at home. And our Mahjong program is very popular. We are starting the coloring group and ESL classes. Monday we have yoga. Tuesday we have Thursday we have memoir writing and meditation, art classes, gentle chair yoga, and strength training. And for children we have back to our schedule, story time on Tuesdays in the park, and the Friday at the library. And we have a special bilingual story time with Miss Ines, Friday, September 29 at 11 a.m. And also we have for teenager D&D program, which is on Friday, September 15 and 3:30 p.m. and also graphic novel book club. So there's a lot of programs, so I just want to make it short. If any question, give us a call. Thank you.
They want to get more information. Where can they find it?
They can call or they can go to our website. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Camille, do you have anything? No. Gary? David?
I do. I think it would be important to talk about a couple of items that you guys already passed, but just kind of giving the community a little bit of context. One is the HVAC repairs at Village Hall. So it's a $75,000 expense. Just to let you know, this building is actually complicated in how the AC works, and we knew at some point it was going to actually break down. So in our last bond, we did borrow funding, but we were hoping to get through this year and kind of work on a bid package for next year. That didn't happen. The system failed, and we looked into it. And just to let you know, we looked into it. We looked into replacing some parts, fixing it, how much it would cost to fix it, to kind of put a temporary bandage on it before we kind of went down this road. But it wasn't like we just went out and got one $75,000 bid. We looked at several different vendors, talked to a lot of people, talked about the time frames of getting the equipment. So it's not just that it's an emergency repair and we went with the first person. You know, we did our due diligence, and Mr. DeMarco, Mr. Williams did a lot of work to try to find this. So even though it is an emergency, we kind of went through our due diligence. Second, number 7, probably the largest amount that, you know, I've been here 9 years and the board has never voted to spend $1 million on a project. This is a long time coming. Several years, several grants. I think there's at least 6 grants from going back to State Senator George Latimer and modifying a children's room. And this kind of just grew and grew and grew. And Swadish has been absolutely amazing at getting more money. And I think at the end of the day, it's over $1 million or almost $1.25 million in grant money for this project. So we look at spending over $1 million right here. There's other costs of furniture and moving and all that kind of stuff. But this is a big project. It's going to kind of transform the library, create 2 different rooms, create a new computer lab, new rugs, carpeting, light, and everything. There's a lot of different conceptual pictures down at the library if anyone wants to go look at it. But this is an exciting project, years in the making, and it's just I thought it would be just you kind of breezed over it a little bit, and I'm very excited about it. And we put a lot of work into it. And there's a lot of more work that's going to have to happen with this project.
Yeah, that's great. Can we talk a little bit about how it's going to impact people's access to the library and programs and the community center?
Yeah, so as of right now, the plan is to have a temporary or shared space with the Tuckahoe Community Center. So the Tuckahoe Community Center has the main area with the stage, and then there's 4 rooms off to the side. So we're going to transform those rooms into kind of 4 separate spaces for the library: an office space, kind of a meeting space, a children's room, and an adult library section. So it's going to be kind of bifurcated a little bit. We're still going to try to hold as many community center programs as well. So it's going to be a little different. The library is going to amend some of their times. We haven't got every single final detail yet. It's going to be a little bit different, but our hope is for the libraries to run as many programs as we can during that, less than 6 months time frame of construction.
I was looking for a bald head. So we just asked the community to be patient, because the programming is not going to look the way you're accustomed to it looking. So just be mindful and be patient with the library, the community center employees, and support them so that we could have this beautiful new project. And as David said, if you go to the library, you can see the drawings. It's a really beautiful plan. So thanks for elaborating on that. Okay, so may I have just information. The next village board meeting, October 16th. So please be back at 7 p.m. And that'll take us to Board of Trustee reports. Trustee Engelbert.
Awesome. Okay, so starting with the Eastchester Union Free School District. Schools opened last week. I certainly hope that all that summer reading was completed over the summer, but if kids are like my kid, it was done the night before Monday night on Labor Day, but that has been completed. And certainly a personal, I think, village-wide kind of thank you to all the faculty and staff at our school district. They do the hard work. They do kind of the incredible work to kind of educate our next generation of students. And last week was really tough for teachers and staff because of the heat. But they put our children first. So really kind of a point of gratitude to kind of all the professional and paraprofessional staff at the Eastchester Union Free School District. A bit to write on your calendars, if Eastchester is your district, there is a board meeting tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. I encourage everyone to attend it. It is a great way to kind of keep on top of what's happening in the district. And there are a lot of important initiatives related to pedagogy, related to the budget, and so on and so forth. So do make it there. It's in the high school auditorium. They're moving stuff around. If you haven't noticed, there's a bit of construction happening in Eastchester. So the second thing, now Tuckahoe Public Library. Swedish, you know how I feel about you and about your whole staff, but $1 million in grants that you kind of personally have your fingerprints all over. Kind of thank you. The village will thank you for generations to come, kind of on that. Very exciting stuff. But you know what? Now's the time for everyone to get involved in those fundraising efforts, because there are a few of those things that are on a wish list that we'd like to get onto a punch list, if you know what I mean. And we need some help with that, like last mile of fundraising. So you know the drill for me. I talk about the Friends every month. So join the Friends, buy a brick at the road race on Sunday. There's also going to be a bake sale. I'm going to bake something. You have to buy what I bake, but certainly buy something at the bake sale. Tuckahoe Environmental and Sustainability Committee, they were on hiatus this summer, but they are going to have their first meeting of the new school year kind of next week. So come October 16th, I'm sure to have a great update kind of on that. Community Center, the Tuckahoe Challenge, and others will speak about this in greater length, that kicks off at the Community Center kind of on Sunday. If you haven't registered, it really is time kind of to do that. I will sick Dr. Howell kind of on you. I'm participating. If I can do it, you can absolutely do it. Do it too. And this is a huge fundraiser for our community. This was, of course, covered by Swadish, but that Voicescapes performance on the 23rd is really one not to miss. It's at 2 p.m. I mean, live performance is one of life's great joys, and I certainly encourage you to attend. In the vein of live performances and live music, there will be a fundraiser at Broken Bow on September 22nd from 6 to 9 p.m. to memorialize John James, who is an esteemed music educator, and music education is so important. But he was a music educator for many of the young people in our community, and the funds from that memorial will be used to support education through music. So if you can find your way free on the 22nd, I encourage you to do so. With that, I think I was pretty quick, Daryl. So there's more
Shut
time
up.
for you.
Excellent job.
Shut
Excellent
up.
job.
Trustee Taylor.
Okay. The Eastchester Community Action Partnership, ECAP is currently seeking nominations for the community members to serve on our ECAP advisory board to represent the target low-income population. The election will be held at the ECAP office on October 4th. Nominees must either reside or work in Bronxville, Eastchester, or Tuckahoe, and meet the Community Services Block Grant income guidelines. For anyone who would like to serve on the ECAP Advisory Board, you can call ECAP at 914-337-7768. Digital Pathways. Recruiting for Digital Pathways at ECAP is on Friday, September 22nd from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. This is a STEM Alliance digital equity program that helps people with free or low-cost internet access, free or low-cost computers, and free tech education training. So anyone who needs help with their internet bill, people that need to know how to use the internet, and even people who may be trying to purchase a computer, needs assistance with that, this is a great opportunity for you at ECAP. That's it for ECAP. The Eastchester Tuckahoe Chamber of Commerce. The Chamber's next networking event will be on Tuesday, September 12th at 5:30 p.m. at Toscana Ristorante, located at 214 Main Street in Eastchester. RSVP is necessary. The cost is $20 per person. And the October meeting is on Wednesday, October 18th at 5:30 at the Broken Bow Brewery. And the cost for that one is $15 per person. And the Chamber is looking to increase the membership and get members to attend the monthly meetings. The Tuckahoe Housing Authority. The Tuckahoe Housing Authority had their annual Family Day on August 19th. It was a great day for the tenants and the families and friends, especially for the kids. We all stopped by there. They had plenty of things for the kids to do, water slides and games and plenty of things for them to do. And I'd like to thank Chanel Moore and Virginia Jacobs. They were the chairs. The Housing Authority, the maintenance staff, and all of the other volunteers who worked very hard to make the Family Day a success. This year, it's usually the seniors and the other residents have their Family Day on the same day, but this year it was separate occasions. So on August 12th, the seniors, these at 4 Union, they had their Family Day, which was also a great day for the seniors and the residents at 4 Union. Thank you to Senior chairs Noreen Yancey and Stanley Moore and their staff and volunteers. The next Tuckahoe Housing Authority Board meeting will be held on Tuesday, September 19th at 7 p.m. at the 4 Union Community Room, 4 Union Place Community Room. And I just want to mention Miss Corinne Birdie. Anybody who's been a longtime resident of the village of Tuckahoe would know who Miss Birdie is. She passed away recently, but she did make it to 100 years old. Miss Birdie was the Tuckahoe Housing Authority director anywhere between 25 and 30 years. Me and the deputy mayor went to the wake the other day, and we had a work session meeting, so we left, but I had enough time. I went back because her son, the eldest son, asked me, did I want to speak, to say something on her behalf. So I did go back, and living in public housing is definitely not the easiest thing for people. But for somebody like Miss Birdie, who had been there that many years, what me and mostly all residents remember about Miss Birdie was she treated everybody with decency and respect. She didn't look down on people. And, she's a perfect example of what we need more of today, because people will remember or forget a lot of things about you, but they'll never forget how you treated them. So she was somebody who, if you ask anybody who lived in the housing authority back then or who knew her, everybody would tell you that Miss Birdie treated people with decency and respect. So I thought that it needed to be said.
Thank you, Trustee Taylor. Trustee Gaccione?
Thank you, Mayor. On the anniversary of 9/11, I first want to say thank you to the first responders who served in and around Ground Zero, the women and men who fought in wars abroad to uphold a democratic way of life, and I wish peace and solace for the survivors of those who lost loved ones. We'll start with the Historic Preservation Commission. Next work session for the Historic Preservation Commission is this Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. The next regular meeting is scheduled for September 28th at 6:30 p.m. in this room. Moving along to the History Committee. Notable events: Nick Zanzano presented Tuckahoe today and yesterday at the Fountains at Riverview on August 30th, and he will be giving that same presentation at the Crestwood Library on September 30th. They are very vigilant with their social media, so everything you need to know about Times is on their social media. Current projects they're working on: the World War II Memorial in Depot Square, working with Westchester Historical Roundtable Revolutionary War 250th project, the website and binder digitization, and if you come on any Wednesday, you'll see them working hard at that, and continuing to identify photos and catalog articles. They had a far reach with their social engagement posts, over 2,400 this past month, and the most popular post was donated by Harry Cade, which is a 50s and 60s Immaculate Conception class photo. The History Committee, as I mentioned, meets here at 9:30 to 12 on Wednesdays at Village Hall, and they're always looking to bolster pictures, yearbooks, any of that stuff, so if you have it, bring it on in. And if you just want to hear some cool stories, to be honest, come on in for that too. Beautification Committee, we met this past week to discuss fall fundraising drives to support the holiday decorations around the village. Mark your calendars, November 10th. We'll have more details to come, but November 10th will be a fundraiser for our holiday decorations. And Picture with Santa will be back. We're going to talk about details, David, as far as usage. But details for that at the community center will be forthcoming as well. And lastly, moving on to our veterans. Many of you know that last month we lost a true patriot, Pete Cirencione. Pete was like family to me and to many, so his loss was felt throughout the community. He served as a Marine in the Vietnam era and was a member of VFW Post 2285, American Legion Post 979. He was in the Eastchester Italian American Club, the Knights of Columbus Keogh Council, and in many other civic and social organizations. He is a retired firefighter for over 20 years in Hartsdale, and his wife Loretta serves on our beautification committee, and we all continue to grieve with her. It's a big loss. Trustee Taylor and I have been working with the remaining members of VFW Post 2768 on Midland Place to drive membership, which is the key to reopening that VFW. We are working to ensure that it's a member-driven traditional Veterans of Foreign Wars post so that it can serve its members' needs and the community needs. And one thing to keep in mind in regard to VFW posts is that they are controlled by the members, and the members are combat war veterans. So as we try to see if we can get members to transfer or to get some other members to come in and join, that is how these organizations stay afloat. And if you know anything about the man who the post was dedicated to, A.C. Jeffries, his memory and honor deserve a rightful place here in our village. So we'll continue to work on that, Mayor.
Thank you, Trustee. Deputy Mayor.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. I am transitioning between needing glasses and not needing glasses, so bear with me.
We're falling apart up here.
Yeah. So the seniors are back. They had their welcome back breakfast last week. They are having their annual fundraiser this year on October 14th. Instead of doing the bazaar as they have done in the past, they have decided to host a bingo night. So October 14th, it's $40 a person. Please consider reserving a whole table. If you and a couple of friends want to get together and have a good night, it's kind of BYOF and BYOB. Bring your own food and beverages, and it's a very good time. So please consider coming out, get a table, bring your friends, let's have some fun and play some bingo. Moving on to the Planning and Zoning Board. So the Planning Board is adjourned for the month. The Zoning Board has one item on its agenda for this coming Wednesday at 7:30. It's 342 Columbus Avenue. This is an area variance for a new foyer and I believe a set of stairs being moved. More importantly, we are still in need of ad hoc members for the Zoning and Planning Board. So if you are interested in getting involved and you have a mind towards design or planning or zoning or urban landscapes of any kind, if you have any background in law or planning or design or real estate even, we would love to talk to you. So you can reach out to me via my social media or my village email, or if you know anybody who's local in the village, the only requirements are that you be 18 years old and a resident of Tuckahoe. So if you know somebody or if you are yourself interested, please seek me out. We are looking to fill at least 2 spots, at least one on zoning and at least one on planning. And these are ad hocs positions, which are a nice way to kind of dip your toe in the water without having to know too much, because they're like alternate members, right? So if you aren't quite sure and you're a little worried to get in, that you're getting in over your head, this is a really good way to kind of test out. They're 1-year appointments and you can find out if this is something that is for you. So please reach out to me if you're interested or know someone who might be interested. The Tuckahoe Road Race. So the Tuckahoe Road Race is this coming Sunday, and I'm expecting everybody to sign up and either walk or run or stroll their way to the end. So it is a 1 mile pre-race and then a 5K run. So it's kind of 2 runs, and that's what makes together the Tuckahoe Challenge. So we'd really like to see you there. I am relaying a message on behalf of the former Deputy Mayor Renee Howell. The last raffle will be held on Wednesday at 5 p.m. for those who want to have a chance at some great certificates to the Tuckahoe restaurants and a free night at the hotel. The weather forecast looks great. It's going to be in the low 60s early in the morning. There's a party at Broken Bow afterwards. If you bring your bib, you get a free beer, so you can't beat that. Right now we're at about 130 registrants. We are looking to have at least 150, so we're relying on everybody, and if everybody in this room then goes and signs up, we'll be good. We'll be good. If you don't want to run, you can walk. If you don't want to walk or run, you can just donate. And the money is going to EVAC. So it's the Eastchester Volunteer Ambulance Corps, which is a really deserving and wonderful organization that has saved the lives of many of the people that we love and cherish. So please donate if you can, walk if you can, run if you can, but come out and support EVAC. Moving on. the everyone's favorite event, the Tuckahoe Creepy Candy Crawl will be on Main Street on Saturday, October 28th from 4 to 5:30. So this is an hour and a half event. It's short because we cannot possibly get enough candy to to meet the demand of all the people who come. So last year we had almost 1,000 people come. We think it was about 1,000 people, and it was actually very hard to count. But I can tell you that we gave away at least 25,000 pieces of candy. So I am going to ask again, if you can, please donate candy or your time. We could definitely use the volunteers. If you have a business or an organization in the village or in the town of Eastchester and you would like to set up a table, please give me a call. We're more than happy to have you. The more hands make easier work, and the more candy make happier children. So please come out, and you don't have to give out candy. We have some organizations give out apples and like healthier options, so, or pretzels or other things. So by all means, if you would like to get involved in some way, it is an amazing event, and it's a fun time had by all. We will be closing down Main Street, and so information will be coming out of the police department about that. Yes, everything has to be wrapped, nothing homemade, everything pre-wrapped for the safety of everybody. We just don't want to take any chances. And so thank you for considering. We had 3 great movie nights this summer, and so I really want to take the time to thank both the businesses and the residents who come out and support us for these movie nights. Our extraordinary businesses, they're incredible, but especially this summer, Angelina's, Villaggio, San Fratello Deli, and Elcon Industries, who donated a whole ice cream truck for the evening. I just cannot say enough how grateful we are to the businesses in this village that support all of the different activities that we do. It is because of all of them that we can do these activities. Yeah, so. It is also because of the volunteers that help. So this village board, in particular, the mayor and all the trustees, they come out and they help. They pitch in. They roll up their sleeves. I am eternally grateful to them. I must send Trustee Gaccione and Taylor on 1,000 errands before each one, and I'm sure they've mortgaged their homes by now because of it. I also want to thank a couple of residents because they show up time after time and really pitch in, and they never say no when we ask. So John Gunther, Carter Perryman, Andre Jacobs, Adrian Michelle, and 2 young people, Layla Gargiulo and Justin Smith. Every single event that we put on, they are there and they are helping out. So thank you to them. And thank you especially to Joe Marzella from DPW. His boss is here, so I'm telling you right now, he is very helpful, and we really appreciate that. I also just want to take a moment to note, in addition to Mr. Cirencione and Miss Birdie, we had 2 other deaths of longtime residents, former and present. Ellen Gaudinier, who was 87 years old, and Father Tom Provenzano, brother of Sal Provenzano, who we lost earlier this summer. And then I will close by saying, September 11th is hard for many of us as we have all kind of lived through this, and I just want to send my thoughts and a little love to the families. I want to especially acknowledge Michael McHugh, who the chief talked about earlier. He was a sales director at Cantor Fitzgerald. He had 3 children and a wife named Maria, but more importantly, he was a member of this board, and he was running for county legislator when he passed away. So I just want to take a moment to say a prayer for them. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. So I think I will also start by acknowledging today's anniversary on the 22nd anniversary of 9/11 and the day that our world was forever changed. We lost friends and family, co-workers, members of the military, first responders, who put the lives of others before their own to save strangers. And when I think about that, I wonder if I would have the courage to do that, to save strangers during such a horrific act. On this day, the world stood still for a moment in time in disbelief, yet I was moved to tears at the tenacity and resilience of so many who banded together, not just in our country, but around the world. Tuckahoe, Bronxville, and Eastchester were not exempt from being touched by this tragedy. And when I hear messages that perpetuate the divide that we're already experiencing in our country, it compels me to remind us of our ability to overcome any obstacle placed before us as Americans, but only when we're united. I'd like to ask Trustee Gaccione to read the names of those we lost here in our community, and I ask everyone to join me in a moment to reflect, remember, and respect those that we lost with a moment of silence. Trustee Gaccione.
Michael Bacardi, Lloyd Brown, Mary Caulfield, Dwight Darcy, Thomas Fitzpatrick, Kevin Frawley, Peter Galinis, Michael Lapori, Michael McHugh Jr., Dennis Maroney, Takuya Nakamura, Diana O'Connor, Jeffrey Waltz.
Thank you, everyone. I also want to acknowledge the passing of several of the community members and former community member Corinne Birdie, who's been mentioned, Pete Cirencioni, Ellen, Father Provenzano, whose service we attended. Our hearts and our thoughts are with those families, and our condolences go out to you on behalf of the board and the entire village of Tuckahoe. So I want to give you guys a few updates. We've been talking a lot about dealing with our infrastructure. That's, aging infrastructure is difficult to deal with. It costs a lot of money. It's inconvenient. So we've been working on that for quite some time now. And the latest project that's going to be coming up, we've put bids out for the Midland Place sewer line reconstruction project, which is funded in part by the CDBG grant program. I think it's 50. Did we say it was 50%, David? And so the bids have gone out. Do we have any idea when the 22nd the bids will close? So look out for that. You might see some construction happening, and it's inconvenient, but we are trying to take care of the village that we love so much, and so please be patient. I know sometimes there's work being done, and it's frustrating, and I understand that. Also, I wanted to give an update on the 21 Scarsdale project. There was a lot of discussion about that at the last meeting, and great concern from residents about traffic and the lights. And I said that I would have the traffic study go back to the engineer for a second look. But in discussion with the village administrator and the board, we realized that sending it back to the engineer was really going to come back with the same response, and we didn't want to spend money unnecessarily because the project has already been approved by the planning board in Yonkers. As everyone knows, or may not know, the 21 Scarsdale project, where apartments are going up, was the former Sterling Bank building across the street from the Riverview. They have gone before the planning board in Yonkers. That is a Yonkers project. That is not a Tuckahoe project. And that project has been approved. So what we are doing is we are working with the developer to help to mitigate against some potential problems that we're going to have in the future by having them or asking them to help us with funding for some of the work that we may need to have done. And part of the work that's going to be needed are the traffic light updates. So we've been talking about this for quite some time. I've mentioned that we have upgraded some lights already, and I personally test them and then text the village administrator, it worked or it didn't. And so we want to continue along those lines to continue to upgrade projects in the village to keep our community moving and to keep us safe. So having said that, We have also put in for some more grants to try to help with the traffic light infrastructure at Depot Square, which is the bane of everyone's existence. I called an Uber the other day. I was traveling, and the guy went all the way around. And I said, "Why did you go all the way around?" He goes, "'Cause that darn light." Now he didn't know I was the mayor, so he was talking about the light in Tuckahoe, and I didn't tell him I was because I didn't want him to ask me what we were doing about it. But we have been doing a lot to try to get the funding that we need, because the project, as people may not realize, is upwards of $700,000 just to fix the lights. Am I right, David? So it's not like we can just, take $40,000 and go fix a traffic light. It doesn't work that way. The infrastructure is not just the pole that you see and the lights. There's a lot more to that. So having said that, we did submit a $2 million grant from Congressman Bowman's office, and we were approved for $1 million. So we did not get 2 million, but we got 1 million, and that does deserve an applause. That's good. You can clap. So we are hoping that we are able to get that funding soon. And the project that we put in for was actually, we already had started working on plans for the upgrade of the entire Depot Square, along with the traffic lights. It looks like if we are only able to get 1 million, that we're going to have to prioritize, and that's going to be the traffic light. Will have to be prioritized, and then we go back to the drawing board to request more money for more grants, just as the library has done for how many years now. And you just chip away at it until you get all that you need to get the work done. So just wanted to give you an update on that. I do want to acknowledge the chief's retirement, which makes me sad saying it, but here we are. I met John Costanzo in 2018 when I first ran for village trustee and was elected. And from the first conversation that we had, I think we went to the quarry for a bite to eat. He struck me from the very beginning as a man of great character. He has a great sense of humor. He can laugh. Sometimes my jokes are kind of dry and people don't get them. He does, so I like him for that. And he's also just very level-headed. And that is such an important character trait for the chief of police. And I've seen in the last 5 years, the department that we have it just doesn't become, it's made through leadership. And so, Chief, I want to personally thank you for your leadership of that department. We're sad to see you go, and to also announce to the village that the board in August hired and has named Lieutenant Larry Rhoda as the next chief of police, and he is charged with continuing in the legacy of Chief John Costanzo and expanding on it. So we ask that the community support him in doing so, and to continue to support our police department, which has proven to be probably one of the best departments in New York State, if not the country. So thank you, Chief. So I also want to, last thing on my agenda is to talk to you guys about short-term rentals or Airbnbs. We've been talking about this for a couple of months on, at the board level. And we will have more discussions about this. We will have a public hearing to discuss what our options are and possibly put forth some legislation to deal with short-term rentals, also known as Airbnbs, but it's not the only short-term rental that's out there. There are some others, VRBO and others. Several concerns have been brought to the board's attention around Airbnbs, noise, people dumping garbage and not worrying about it, parties happening. So there are a number of things that have come up that have been brought to our attention. So we've started to do our due diligence, and we're looking at how to best tackle the issue of short-term rentals in Tuckahoe, and to safeguard against potential litigation. So we want to make sure that we address any possible concerns, but be sure that we are not opening ourselves up to a potential lawsuit that could really cost us. So what we've done so far is we've charged our village attorney to research what other communities have done. We are looking at what the New York Conference of Mayors recommendations and guidelines are, and we've listened to their webinar. We're looking at what our options are, and so maybe you could talk a little bit about that, Gary. Nothing is happening right this second, but we just want to make you aware that it's on our radar, that we are looking at what our options are to address the concerns that have come up. And we will be having the community weigh in at a public hearing at some point.
So, I guess there's a whole gamut of what communities do, from basically nothing to trying a complete ban. The complete ban has been problematic. There's been lawsuits and litigation over that. New York City's currently in litigation now. They passed a law down there which basically prohibits those short-term rentals. They make it very difficult to do. So there's a lot in between. We'd have to look at it. A lot of communities are saying, well, if a short-term rental can't be your primary use of a property, so it really would have to be somebody's primary residence, and then as a secondary use, they can do the short-term rentals. Some communities said the owner needs to be at the property when they do the short-term rentals. So there's a number of things to look at. So you have these two outside views, and then you probably want to look somewhere in the middle and see. We've reached out to another couple of communities, New Paltz, one, Saratoga, Saugerties is another, to see what they're doing. Some municipalities do a registration way where you have to register. You have to put a primary contact person there. So there's a number of things that we'll be discussing in the upcoming months, and it'll be up to the board to see where they go with this and where they want to land.
Yeah. There was also concern voiced by some board members and also community members about just the cost of living. And so there are some homeowners who might rent a portion of their home out as in a short-term rental in order to supplement their income so that they can make ends meet. So there are a lot of angles to this, and it's not quite as simple as ban them or not. So we're taking a look at all the options. And that's the end of my report, and this will take us to the second opportunity. I never gave anyone a first opportunity, right? So this is the first and the second opportunity to address the board. Sorry, I've had a rough day.
I'm sorry, before
Yes.
we move forward, it was brought to my attention that I somehow skipped Ronald Bucca, who was a hero in the veterans community, Green Beret, Special Forces operator, and of course New York City Fire Marshal and a firefighter who lost his life in 9/11.
Thank you. Okay. Former trustee, Claire Gorman.
Claire Gorman, 24 Bronx Street, Tuckahoe. Thank you for mentioning Ron, because I walk into that post office, the Ronnie Bucca post office, and I think of 9/11 immediately. The main reason I'm here, though, is because I've been meaning to come since May, when Keller Williams Realty in Scarsdale they have the Red Shirt Day, which is their giving day. All the Keller Williams across the country do this. And they asked through Sarah DeReese, a Tuckahoe resident and realtor, asked to help us at the Native Plant Garden. And they brought a team, and it was fantastic. It saved our crew, our volunteer crew, weeks of work and weeding. So I really want to shout out to Keller Williams for doing that. And also another realtor there, Max, and I don't know his last name, who came to 2 more of our sessions on his own and helped us. So the community of businesses we have is tremendous support with everything. We're the road race. We're working with the road race. We can't do the road race without our businesses. So thank you to our businesses.
Yes, here. Yes.
Thank you, Claire, for mentioning that, because I forgot to say that Keller Williams is having their annual fundraiser on the 28th. And that fundraiser, last year they raised $10,000 for the Tuckahoe seniors, and they are fundraising for the Tuckahoe seniors again this year. So if you can, it's a great event. There are lots of raffles and giveaways, and it's a hugely fun. Please either make a donation or come to the fundraiser, and it's on the Keller Williams website if anybody's interested.
And what's the date again?
It's the 28th
Of
September.
September. Thank you.
Hey, hi everybody. Jeff
Hello.
Zuckerman. I also live at 24 Bronx Street. We're not running an Airbnb. We actually are married, so it's okay. Listen, I'm wearing my shirt from 2008, 15 years ago.
Put a plug in there.
George W. Bush was president when I ran in this. Also, he was president for 9/11. By that 8-year span, John Fitzpatrick was mayor here in 2008. I've been running this. I have all the shirts for the last 25, 30 years, so it's nice to have. One correction, Kara, there was a misunderstanding in numbers. We have 375 people registered right now, and we're looking for another 125 to make it 500 like we had last year. And we'll get it. A lot of late signups this week, so we'll get there. It's a big deal. It really has. I remember it 30 years ago. It was nothing, and now it's like a big deal. There's some great runners there, and the 1 mile, I mean, his parents, the Gerstens, used to show up with 30 people sometimes, pushing with baby carriages. I mean, it was just great. Anyway, so that's one thing. The other thing is on the Airbnb. I'm just wondering, is there ever a limit on number of people? That might do something. You know, sometimes with big parties and stuff, like, you know, you can't have more than 6 people at that residence in it for any evening kind of thing. I don't know, maybe somewhere in between nothing and something. I don't know, you know, and a fine maybe if they bring 26 kids drinking and having fun. That's another story. Okay, and finally, before I sit down, I just want to chime in with the chief. I know the chief for a long time. Claire and I are here 26 years, and I'm not just saying this because I know him real well and I consider him a friend. That's not it. The department is so unbelievably strong, so strict. The guys are always so good. I mean, I have private conversations with a lot of them, you know, on the board. You hire a lot of them. Claire hired a lot of them. And it just, you know, I talk about some things that people do in other departments around, whatever. They say, are you kidding? We don't even consider that. Nobody calls in sick or does this. We're working for the chief. And I'm not, chief, you know what I'm saying. It's really an extraordinary situation. And we've been blessed. And I know Larry Roto will keep it going. So thank you. Thanks for listening to this all.
Thank you. Just to put an exclamation point on Jeff and Claire's points about the road race and how much money has been raised. You know, really a lot of credit to the entire team, but the director, former deputy mayor, Dr. Renee Howell, has really just raised the level of the race. And last year, I think it was about $30,000 that was raised. And so it's, you know, it's nothing to sneeze at. And the EVAC, as well as the Native Plant Garden Committee. Is it a committee? Well, I guess it's a committee of 1 or 2. I don't know. Claire, no matter what's happening, I see Claire walking. She doesn't see me, and she's got her gloves on, and she's cleaning, and she's taking the weeds out. This is our own personal, like, landscaper in Tuckahoe. As she's walking, she's cleaning up. But I really have learned a lot about EVAC and how much of our help EVAC needs, not being a part of our tax base. And so I really support the fact that we're going to be giving the proceeds, the majority of it, to EVAC, and a portion of it will go to the Native Plant Garden Committee. I'm just making up a name, Claire. And so I just ask that if you cannot run, crawl, walk, jog, to donate any amount helps. If you really can't donate a lot, I understand things are difficult, but if you can give, do so. I also have committed myself to helping EVAC, so much so that I have just informed them that I will be joining the EVAC board this month to see how I can help propel their fundraising efforts. So,
Yep.
yeah. It's a worthy cause. So, okay. Anyone else have what would like to address the board in this room? Anyone on Zoom? Okay, sorry, there's one person.
Hello.
Delayed reaction.
Yes, Samantha, 72 Main Street. And I just wanted to say thank you to all of you guys. Every time I go on the Tuckahoe website, I see, that we have our still AA+ rating, and that's all thanks to you and Dr. Renee Howell also, just making sure that we have a great balance of savings, services, and infrastructure for our village all the time, and that's thanks to all your hard work and everybody here. So I just wanted to say thank you for all you do, and I'm looking forward to the candy crawl.
Thank you, Samantha. And yes, we are very excited about Tuckahoe's first time ever AA+ rating. It's a big deal. It's a big deal because you hear all the projects that we want to work on, and when we have an emergency like the HVAC project that we're working on, and we may need to go out to bid or to the words are escaping me, to borrow, having your credit score, being a good credit score, can have an impact on you, either whether it's good or bad, for generations to come, actually. So I'm really proud of the work that the departments do, because they have to, stick to budgets, and that's not always easy. Our treasurer, who keeps us in line with, working with the village administrator, and just all the employees in the village help make that happen. That's how that happens, with, working together and making sure that we're vigilant in terms of our finances. Another really important point that I can't stress enough is the importance of having a healthy fund balance. And if anybody watched when our auditors came and talked about having a 17 to 20% fund balance, it's really key to keeping your credit score up, so that when we do bond for any projects, we could basically get money for free sometimes. I mean, we did that when we were trying to get a lot of our projects done, and we've gotten our roads paved, our traffic lights upgraded. We're working on sewer systems. This is a quality of life projects. These are not just projects. I call this quality of life for the village and people in the village. So there's just one last thing that I want to address that just came to mind, thinking about Trustee Gaccion's report on his work with Trustee Taylor on the Jeffrey A.C.'s post. When there's misinformation that's distributed publicly, and some of you have heard me talk about and speak on lies, I'm just going to use the word, that were told publicly, then I think they need to be corrected publicly as well. And Trustee Gaccione talked about, the post needing members. He's a veteran. He belongs to the VFW post in Eastchester, so he understands how that works. It has nothing to do with the village. We don't open and close VFWs. They're strictly run by their members. And there was information sent to me that Danny Lang is accusing this board, former trustee Danny Lang is accusing this board of keeping the A.C. Jeffries post closed, and that we don't want it open. And that is just an outright lie. We don't have to be doing work and making noise about doing the work. We can just do it. And then when we resolve it, we can say this is how it was resolved. But it's dangerous when there's false information that's spread that then people believe, because it has, there are several ramifications that can come about when that happens. So I want to be, clear that everyone understands this board, and we have a veteran on our board who can say, oh, this is what we can do. This is who we can contact. These are some members that possibly we can bring into, so that we can open the VFW post. And these are the guidelines that we need to have in place to make sure that it's successful, that we are able to have programming and help for veterans in that facility. And so that's the truth. Our board is working to help them open it, but we're not in charge of keeping the VFW post open, nor do we have any reason why we would not want it open. So I wanted to make that clear. And the truth does matter. Okay, so if there's unless there's anyone else that would like to address the board, is there anyone on Zoom? So there is a website. Let's see. Let's see here. The Chamber of Commerce, and I'm going to just look it up as we're talking. Yeah, it's Eastchester Tuckahoe Chamber of Commerce. Yep. I think it's etcoc.com. Mm-hmm. Somebody else look it up while, if there's anyone else that has any questions, comments, would like to address the board. Okay. So let's see if we can find the.
Yeah, so that's it.
You got it? It is? Yep.
ETCOC.
etcoc.com. You got that, Suzanne? Maybe put it in the chat there for her, John. How many people do we have on Zoom? 5. Okay. So Tuckahoe, you asked for us to continue with our hybrid meetings. So if you'd like to continue the hybrid meetings, then I'm asking that you actually join in on those meetings. Otherwise, you can just watch it on TV when it's done, because it does take, resources, time, energy to set it all up and to monitor. And I don't want for us to unnecessarily have that as an option for you. But, I want to offer it if you are going to use it. But if you don't really need it or want it, then maybe we don't continue it. So I just want to encourage residents and encourage your neighbors. If you're not going to come in person and you do want to weigh in on something, going on through Zoom is a good option. You don't have to leave your house. You can keep your pajamas on, I think. And then you can weigh in that way. So just want to encourage people. We are going to continue doing hybrid, and I just encourage that you try to use it if you can. And that's it for us. So we will see you on October 16th. I just also want to inform everyone that the Chiefs retirement party is on November 3rd. And I encourage everyone to come there and honor him, because he is deserving of it after 40 years, 20 years as police chief, to join us in honoring all the work that he's done and the way he's built up our police department that we love so much. So have a good night, Tuckahoe.
Good night.